Hisar Foundation and Engro Foundation, in association with TV1, News 1, Waseb and FM 91, presents the 5th Karachi International Water Conference webinar series on climate change and pandemic impact on water.
And now we move on to our next invited speaker. It's Ms. Roberta Ianna.
Thank you very much and good afternoon, everyone. My presentation will be a little different. Will be about the Italian initiative at pre-COP and COP26 on youth participation. A presentation on the Italian initiative Youth for Climate, which was aimed to respond to youth instances and youth protests in the recent years to allow the voices of youth to be listened to governments. As Greta said, and she said it actually in Milan, the blah blah talk of Greta happened in Milan. Governments, as it has been proven also at COP26, are quite slow in taking real commitments and change. Therefore, in collaboration, in partnership with the UK presidency of COP26, the Italian government hosted in Milan last September, back-to-back with the pre-COP, a youth event to give the possibility to young people from all over the world to compile a list of requests to be presented to governments directly.
रॉबर्टा इयाना साहिबा, उन्होंने मौसम के लिए नौजवान आगे जाने के लिए सलाहियत के उन्वान से एक मुनफरिद प्रोग्राम के बारे में बातें की। इस प्रोग्राम के तहत नौजवानों की आवाज को मजबूत करके हुकूमतों तक ले जाने का हदफ बनाया गया है। इस ज़मन में नौजवानों की मालूमात और महारतों में इजाफे के लिए बहुत मेहनत की गई है और तरबियत का एहतमाम किया गया है।
Thank you very much, Roberta, for informing us about this Youth for Climate initiative. Now we move on to our next speaker. It's Mr. Ahmed Rafe Alam.
Thank you very much, Samir, and thank you so much, Hisar Foundation, for inviting me and allowing me to participate in this absolutely wonderful conference that you put together. This 1.5 degree limit is not just a limit, it's a manifestation of the politically acceptable level of climate destruction and calamity the international community, the global north, G20, is willing to bear. And by the sights of things, they are willing to bear more. When I speak to people about climate change, I certainly get the impression that they don't know how bad things have gotten. Aditi pointed out that we're at about 1.1 degrees warmer than before the Industrial Revolution. And let me point out, our oceans are acidifying, coral reefs are bleaching. Nearly every river on the face of the earth is dammed, destroying its ecosystem. There were forest fires in the Arctic last year for the first time in recorded history. Floods in Europe this year, fires in Turkey, parts of the northern Mediterranean. We are in a 6th extinction event, and there are plastics in our bodies. There is no safe amount of climate change. In his book by David Wallace Wells, Uninhabitable Earth, there's a figure quoted of the destruction, anticipated destruction between 1.5 degrees and 2 degrees of global warming, which is estimated to be about 150 million deaths, mostly in Asian and African cities on account of air pollution associated with their transport and energy sectors.
राफे आलम साहब ने मौसम और माहौल के मौजूदा जवाल की निशानदेही की और बताया कि इसके नताइज पानी पर बड़े मनफी अंदाज में असरअंदाज हो रहे हैं। उन्होंने पाकिस्तान की वाटर पॉलिसी पर तबसरा करते हुए कहा कि इसमें बहुत बेहतरी की गुंजाइश है। उन्होंने कहा कि तरक्की याफ्ता मुल्कों को कोई परवाह नहीं कि 1.5C का जो हदफ पेरिस के COP25 के मुआहदे में सब ने कबूल किया था वो हासिल होगा कि नहीं, बल्कि ये मुकर्ररा हदफ इसलिए रखा गया था कि तरक्की याफ्ता ममालिक इसको सियासी तौर पर माने लेकिन असल में कोई अमल ना करें। यूं समझ लें कि ये हदफ वो है जिसके तहत बाकी दुनिया में तबाही और ख़तरनाक हालात या तरक्की याफ्ता मुल्क बर्दाश्त करने को तैयार हैं, यानी दूसरे मुल्कों और इलाकों में गर्मी की शिद्दत से होने वाली तबाही इनको कबूल है। उन्होंने लाहौर में ज़बरदस्त आलूदगी का जिक्र किया और बताया कि अब दूसरे असरात भी नुमायां होने लगे हैं, मसलन क़ैद और नबाताती विरसे का खात्मा। उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि मौसमियाती हिजान और तब्दीली के ज़िम्मेदार सरमायादारी का इस्तेहसाली निज़ाम है, जिसमें मुआशी असासे कुछ ही हाथों में मुंजमद हो जाते हैं और इंसानी मेहनत और माहौल की कोई अहमियत नहीं रह जाती।
Thank you very much, Rafe, for this very interesting talk and also for explaining the drivers of climate change and what needs to happen in Pakistan. Thank you so much. Now we move on to the last speaker of this session, Mr. Mahmood Nawaz Shah.
You know, heard a lot about from all the learned speakers that we heard about 1.5 and 2.5, just confused a bit. For us, it's more of things what has happened to the farming and agriculture in Pakistan. And I think a point of concern for farmers is that we are not able to trace back the issues that we have in agriculture today. And most of it is coming out of agriculture. That's what we think, at least. So I'll be concluding in 7-8 minutes, not much to say. Is about understanding climate change in agriculture and what are the current impacts and then what is happening in agriculture currently and what could be the mitigating strategies that we all talk about. And of course, this is a World Bank graph which essentially shows how historically the temperatures have been and now what is happening in Pakistan and what is impacting in Pakistan. So really no need to say what is climate change here. Everybody understands and learns, understands it. I think one of the things is that in agriculture is also contributing 20% to the total emissions, and it is impacting agricultural production. If you can stop at and it affects the agricultural economy and the food security. And one of the things which we are not understanding here in Pakistan is that while we talk a lot about climate change, certain mitigating strategies, but at the highest level, the impact is coming on in the agriculture because obviously it is open. It takes 6 to 8 months to mature crops. At shortest, it takes more than 1 year for certain crops to mature. And suddenly, the climate change and impacts affects the agriculture. And we being on really at the threshold where we are not very food insecure, it impacts our production. And obviously, the literature says that information, technology, and management are three things that can be perhaps done to really take care of the climate change.
महमूद शाह साहब ने ज़राअत और किसानों पर मौसमी और माहौलियाती तब्दीली के असरात पर अपने ख्यालात का इजहार किया। गो के कुल्ली तौर पर ज़राअत 20% इम्प्रेशन की जिम्मेदार है। मौसमियाती हिजान का इस सेक्टर पर बहुत ज़्यादा असर है। हवा में नमी का तनासुब बढ़ने की वजह से, शदीद गर्मी में इजाफे की वजह से और सर्दी के मौसम में सेक्टर की वजूहात से पिछले 4 सालों से पाकिस्तान में गंदम की पैदावार में कमी आई है। हमारे मकामी तुखम और बीज अब जवाल में हैं और किसानों ने कपास की काश कम कर दी है। वो अब गन्ना और चावल ज़्यादा उगा रहे हैं, जिसमें बहुत ज़्यादा पानी की ज़रूरत है। आखिर में उन्होंने सिफारिशात पेश की कि कीड़े मारने वाली दवाओं का कम से कम इस्तेमाल हो, सही और कसीर मालूमात तक सबको रसाई हो और कर्ज़ों में आसानी हो।
Thank you, Shah Saab, for giving us a farmer's perspective and how climate change is already affecting the agriculture in Pakistan.